Hello, I'm Jamele Wright Sr., and this is my work, Levitate number 9. I don't really title my work. Actually, what I do is I think of it more as like a chapter in a book, each one almost being like its own poem within a book. So here you have Levitate number 9. Before Levitate, there was, the first series was In Transit. The second series was Reborn. And in transit, I was thinking how to develop the work. That's where I originally thought of the work. I did over 20 of those. Then I did Reborn, and I really started thinking about the pouches and thinking about how to develop those and how to create them in different ways and how to adhere them onto the piece so that they had created their own language. And that was Reborn. And then I did 20 of those. And here I'm doing Levitate. So in Levitate, what I'm thinking about is bringing the piece from the bottom up. So getting it to feel tight on the bottom and raising the energy towards the top in order to make the piece feel like it's levitating. In the piece, I have the pouches, which I mentioned in the Reborn. And with those pouches, I think of them similar to the gree bags of African Americans coming from the south to the north during the Great Migration. That's actually where the work is centered. And in those gree bags, Muddy Waters said, "I got a Johnny Cocker roll to mess with you." He would put like a rabbit's foot, or maybe a medallion, or a favorite perfume. He'd put that in the piece. And then it's a leather pouch, and he would carry it in his bag. And it was supposed to give off this good luck charm. I wanted that for good luck on the piece. I wanted it to help with someone's travels. Then there's the strings that come off and actually come down onto the floor, bringing the viewer into the work, but also symbolizing the filaments that are over the Orisha's head in replacements of halos. Those filaments I then put on the piece, and they become like halos onto the piece. And then also on this Levitate, which is kind of unique, it has knots. Those small knots in those patched areas are to bring together like the recycled element of the piece, but also gives these nice little pops of fabric, because I'm taking strings that were left over and tie them up in knots and add them onto the piece to add additional texture. So when thinking about these pieces, I think of them almost as power items themselves. That's why I add the red clay on there. I sometimes call that red clay like putting my stank on it. Because red clay here in Georgia, we know that when you step in red clay and come into the house, it stains everything. But that red clay is also very unique because, and not unique, in that in Africa, they have the red clay. And here in America, we have the red clay. So when there's a great Pangea brought together, this red clay is creating this land bridge to Africa and to America. Also, this red clay actually symbolizes like the minerals that are here in the land here, which makes it almost indigenous to this place. When I'm creating this work, I'm listening to good music, I'm having great conversations with friends as I'm making the piece, and I have young interns sometimes that assist me in making the work. All of that, I believe, is embedded into the work, giving good energy, good conversation, and that way it gives off that power from the community. Thank you very much.